There is a TV series called All in the Family, featured Archie Bunker as a lovable bigot. Archie could not think beyond stereotypes. His irascible son-in-law once challenged him with this riddle. A child was brought into an emergency room, and the doctor said, "This patient needs surgery immediately, but I will not do it." Doctors do not operate on their own children. Now, the doctor was not the child's father. Why did the doctor refuse to operate? The doctor was the child's mother. Today's gospel requires thinking beyond stereotypes. The two characters in the parable, the unjust judge and the persistent widow, are not traditional or stereotypical. Scripture usually portrays judges as wise and just, and widows as meek and gentle. But the judge in this parable is unjust, and the widow is aggressive. The widow is so aggressive that the judge fears assault. The term for the assault in the original Greek is taken from boxing and means giving a black eye, either a physical black eye or the symbolic black eye of disgrace. The aggressive widow was determined to overpower the unjust judge. Neither the widow nor the judge fits their traditional role. Characters in parables are images of God and his people. It is usually clear which is which. Not in this parable. Neither the judge nor the widow fits the traditional image of God, nor a child of God. Since a judge is a powerful figure, the usual understanding of this parable is that the judge represents God and the widow is a Christian at prayer. That understanding of the parable, in tandem with the first reading about Moses at prayer, offers a message of persistence in prayer. But that raises the issue of God being portrayed as an unjust, uncaring judge, which he is not. The difficulty is often explained in this manner. If an unjust, uncaring judge will grant a persistent widow her request, how much more will God, our loving Father, grant our sincere prayers? But one can then misunderstand the parable to mean that we can get anything we want from God if we pester him enough. Just like a spoiled child with an indulgent parent. The Gospels do encourage us to be persistent in prayer, but they also remind us that God gives his children only what is good for them. These difficulties with the traditional understanding of this parable has spawned an alternate interpretation which reverses the roles. It sees the widow as the image of God. The unjust judge represents an imperfect disciple. Just as the widow hounded the judge until he granted her justice, God pursues the errant soul until justification is realized. God is persistent in his quest for our allegiance. He is the hound of heaven, as the poet Francis Thompson portrayed him. Many parables in the Gospels reinforce such an understanding. The Good Shepherd, the lost coin, the prodigal son. God searches out those who stray from the truth. God will not rest until they return to his fold. The Old Testament also concurs with this image. God is there portrayed as a jealous lover. We take comfort that the God portrayed in Scripture is a God of love and mercy and forgiveness. We should not forget that he is also a stubborn God and a nagging God. Every parent knows that there is such a thing as a holy nagging. Children need a constant, unyielding insistence to do what is right. And God, our Father, will nag us as the widow nagged the unjust judge, until we respond to his grace. Today's gospel is something of a riddle. Many of us have our own stereotypical images of God and of our relationship to him. Today's gospel parable challenges us to think beyond such limits and to realize that God and the ways of God are far beyond us.